Another movie shoot.
What movie are you shooting now?
It's called Operation Unite.
Oh, gotcha. And when do you think that it will be out, and when do you plan on releasing it and whatnot?
Um, it's hard to say that when the editor gets done with it. So
Oh yes, usually there's no telling when that is, right?
that's true.
Usually half the time. So
It could
yeah, I
be.
mean, hey, it's taken me 2 weeks before to get photos done when I'm doing photography and things.
Yeah,
So
I'm hoping
I'm doing all right.
September, delay. Maybe October.
Yeah, I'll tell you something that's crazy. I had made somebody happy. They actually sent me this through the mail, and I have no idea who it was. It's crazy. But, I guess I had done something. But I think whoever sent it out there to me because I had. But what do you think about the Trump assassination attempt? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this is a bit of a complex topic here. I like to liken it to a football analogy. A typical football fan, they watch the game, they got their eye on the ball, they see the quarterback take the snap, and either hand it
Right.
off or run with it or throw a pass. That's where their eyes at. That's about all they understand about the game. They know, well, those guys up front are supposed to block and those other guys are supposed to tackle, but
Yes.
I mean, they don't understand the intricacies of the game. But they can enjoy the football game and they can talk about it, but they don't understand all the details going on behind the scenes. And so
Right.
this political situation we have is unlike, I think it's unprecedented in our history.
Yes, sir.
The thing with Trump is not Democrats versus Republicans. It is a spiritual battle.
It is.
And I I grew up kind of apolitical, but I lean toward the Democratic Party. John F. Kennedy, George McGovern,
Right.
people like that. I was I'm not a flaming liberal, but I was I believed in people like that and their vision. But my idea was that both parties had the interests of America at stake, and so it really didn't matter who won. They both were going to take good care of us. We had a good driver in the seat. But right now, things have changed so much that I look at what the Democratic Party is doing, and they've become, an agent of evil.
It is.
Their
Yes.
agenda, their agenda is totally anti-God, and so you look at Donald Trump, and when he first came on the scene as in the politics, they had like 17 Republicans that were going to vie for the nomination, and a lot of professional, famous politicians, and people laughed at Donald Trump. And I didn't have a very high opinion of him. I certainly didn't back him. And lo and behold, he defeats all this array of polished politicians, and my wheels started turning in my head a little bit. And I go, wow, how did this happen? And then
Right.
he's supposed to lose the election to Hillary Clinton and wins. And I
Yeah.
look at it even further. I'm going like, God's doing something here. I mean, this is
Right.
to me, it's almost as similar to Israel being attacked by several countries when they have no weapons whatsoever and they end up winning.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's one of those things that the man upstairs told me. He said this man's going to win. I was hoping he would win because I'm sorry, but I do not trust Hillary. And one thing I want to make a statement about: I did a speech about Trump in a thinking that he was not going to be a good president and that he was going to be horrible. But I want to redact that and say, hey, or I mean, not in redact, but in what I'm saying.
reiterate.
Yeah, and say, hey, this guy has been the best president because he was. We were beginning to become independent in our oil business. Number one, um, number two, we were, gas prices were not crazy through the roof the past few years. And so is the cost of living and etc. So, and I think he had more of an ideology of business than the current people in office today.
Well, they're totally incompetent. They're driving the
Oh
country right into
yes.
the ground. You look at some of their big cities as a perfect example. In the state of California, I don't know how in the world they're going to survive. So,
No, I don't either.
but I look at the Trump situation, and I see Donald Trump as being standing in their way of getting what they want, the world, the brave new world that they envision, which is woke,
Yes.
and what's crazy that drives me absolutely bonkers is they are letting criminals go free and putting people in prison for
Yes.
praying at an abortion clinic or something like that. And the crazy thing is, I made a movie 4 years ago where I said that exact thing was going to happen. They're going to take the people
Yes.
out of prison that deserve to be there and put people in there that shouldn't be in there. They're political prisoners. We're seeing the
And
state
that
bans and so on being put in prison. And so
right.
Donald Trump stands in the way of this agenda. And so to have an assassination attempt on his life surprises me not in the very least. I mean, people have been
No.
talking about, the dangers here. What is surprising though is how some 20-year-old kid can put himself in a position where he can knock off Donald Trump.
Yes, I
Physically,
know.
it doesn't make any sense. I mean, because I've never done any type of security type of work before. But if they'd have called on me and said, "Here, do this, set up security for this event that's going on with Donald Trump," I certainly would have had someone manning, not just surveying
Right.
that rooftop, but being on that rooftop itself,
I,
because
I
it was a
just
public.
wonder I wonder who enticed or brought this kid into going and tried to assassinate Donald Trump. I mean, who's behind it? That's what I want to know,
Well,
and
if
that's what everybody else probably knows. It's
if we can take the circumstantial evidence and say it looks like an inside job because they did not take care of the security for that area, it's almost like
no
they let him do it. It seems like someone had to be on the inside making it happen. How did the ladder get there? How come no
right,
one saw him climbing up this ladder except that one guy that pointed it out to the security, the Secret Service and the police, and nobody did anything about it. I mean, there's just so many things. It's like, how could this even have happened without
right.
someone on the inside being involved in this? So,
It's like a lot of people are saying it, the Democrats have certainly incited this violence towards Donald Trump very much. I mean, it is
I
true on
wouldn't even
that.
say that, Samuel. I don't consider it. That the Democrats, it's not the Democrats. There are people. Democrats are just being puppets, just like Joe Biden's a
Right,
puppet. They are simply being manipulated by people behind the scenes that are very, very powerful and that are controlled by the devil. Because I mean, this is the devil's
right.
plan going down, and it ain't going to happen because God is going to stop it, just like He stopped that assassination.
Right. I mean, it's got to be. I feel like it's got to be much more than the Democrats. That's the way I feel too. On top of that,
Well,
I mean,
most of the Democrats are pawns, and some of them are just plain idiots. I mean,
yes,
I've seen some more stupidity in the last 10 years than I've seen in my whole lifetime put together. And
yes,
there's an old expression that came from Forrest Gump. He said, "Stupid is as stupid does." And I
yep,
mean, we've seen, like the whole thing with the electric cars and stuff. We see him pushing an agenda like that makes absolutely no sense because the electric cars rely on batteries which have to get charged up by gasoline or some other form of fossil fuel or something like that. They're not
exactly.
getting rid of fossil fuels. They're just moving it over to a different place. And that the electric cars are not reliable. They don't go far
Mm-mm.
enough. And I just saw a joke the other day that said 95% of the electric vehicles are on the road and the other 5%
Right,
made it home.
right.
There's
I
there's
mean,
fires and everything, and there's just absolutely no sense in it. But yet they continue to push it and even mandate it. So they're stupid. they,
it is crazy. I
they
mean,
know.
why would you come up with the electric car idea? Because I mean, yeah, that would be my fear of running out of juice and then be stuck on the side of the road
Well,
for who knows how long.
there's no problem if people want to have an electric vehicle. I understand how it can work for a few
Right,
people. But if you mandate it, say we can't sell gas but guzzling cars anymore,
Yeah.
all of a sudden everybody's getting an electric vehicle, and we can't, we have electrical shortage the way it is. Now
Yeah.
you're gonna compound the problem. You can't
Yeah.
mandate it, make it, force people into getting electric vehicles. That is
Yeah.
insane.
That
Just,
is, yes.
just like AOC was talking about, yeah, we're gonna get rid of airplanes and stuff like this. Well, how are those people gonna travel? I mean,
Yeah,
people
exactly.
get jet set all over the world to, to go partying and everything else. How are they going to get there without airplanes? Well, the answer is they're going to still have their airplanes. It's just that we won't be able to use them. The elite will have whatever they want, and we will have nothing. I think that
Wow.
the Hunger Games movie, I think, is a perfect example of what the world is going to look like if they continue with their agenda. We're going to be divided into camps where
Yes.
you have the elites, and they may actually have Hunger Games for sport.
Right. I know, right? That's crazy. That's like insanity. I've never seen so much insanity in my entire life either. That makes both of us.
But it's a spiritual thing, and it's a plan of the devil, and God is counteracting, and this is like a big chess game between the two supernatural forces. And we're seeing the same thing with Israel. Now we're seeing that, you look at the history of the nation of Israel, and it's, I mean, miracle after miracle, and it's, all these countries think we're going to take care of them, we're going to destroy them, and they're end up going to be lose. They're going to lose their face because they're going to be defeated time after time because God is not going to allow that to happen
Right.
anymore. He allowed Hitler to come in with the the Holocaust, and with that same spirit of the Holocaust is back here on the earth. I had another movie where I said the anti-Semitism is alive and well, and it's going to be coming back. And
Yep.
sure enough, we're seeing that. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We're seeing these people stand up and try to they will go to jail to fight for the cause of the, Hamas, etc. It's unreal. And I
Right.
think there again, somebody's behind them pulling strings, paying them money to do this, because I mean, nobody in the right mind is gonna risk their college career and so on by going out there and violently protesting. So, I mean, we're just
Right.
seeing all kinds of spiritual warfare going on that, to the, just the normal observer, it's just a bunch of people that are being politically active, but that's not the case. It's a
Right.
real spiritual war.
It is, and there's a lot of people I've talked to personally too, and they said that they feel like it's a good versus evil type of thing, and that's exactly
What we've
what it
got.
is.
Yeah.
So,
Now we,
I
we
mean,
also need, we also need to be careful. You know, some people may consider themselves on the good side, but people, if you use the term,
imposters.
use the term now, use the term Christless conservatives. I mean, people can be
Oh,
Donald Trump fans, but that doesn't mean that they're on the right side of the spiritual warfare. They just mean they're
oh,
backing Donald Trump because they like, what he stands for.
right.
But when it comes to the actual battle against evil itself, they're they may not be in that battle. And as a result, they will battle with not in the means that God has told us to. We need to still have love for people. We need to have respect for people and so on. We have to fight within the realms of those, what's that paradigm that we still love people,
Right.
but we're going to stand for what's right and what's true. But these people, I mean, they hate as much on, as much as Donald Trump is hated. These people hate the people of the Pelosi's and the Schumer's and something like that, and they would also, celebrate when someone gets assassinated they don't like, which is this is insane.
Yes, I know, right?
I was 13 when John F. Kennedy got shot. I mean, who cared what party he was from? He was our president. I mean, the whole country mourned, and his world has changed so much. It's just unreal how people can just crassly just wish for someone to be dead because
Yeah.
and or even they attribute Trump to being a Hitler, which is crazy because he's the anti-Hitler. They don't understand that
Yes.
the people he's fighting against are the ones that will be the real Hitler. If he was a Hitler when he was in power, he would have done everything that is done now by these people to keep
Oh,
that
I
power.
know.
And he
I know. That's what that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And not only that, what I'd like to know is what is it with the people that if you're for Donald Trump, they don't want to be friends with you, they don't want to talk to you, and they certainly don't want you to be employed with them or their companies, things like that. I've been dealing with that myself. I've been
Yeah.
wondering,
Well, that's that Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, it's just, I mean, you look at that and go, that kind of hatred without real cause. I mean, Donald Trump was a big celebrity to everybody until he jumped into the
yes, he was.
political arena. I mean, all these people would have been thinking he was a big shot, and now he's treated like the worst scum in the history of the world. All
I
the
know,
good
right?
I think it's a demonic thing where these people are manifesting the demons within them are manifesting that hate. Because I mean, all the persecution he's gone and all the evil comments that people have made, it's just incredible. You don't do that to a normal human being, and
Mm-mm. No, I mean, and I couldn't help but think to this too is the our leaders. There's a video with Kamala and on the phone with this guy that's on either a city council, and he goes off the deep end and ashamed that he's a white man. Okay, because you have this political stuff nonsense. You have leaders saying, we should be ashamed that we're white or something. I don't. Who? Why do that? That's like that could cause somebody to go down a wrong rabbit hole and cause them to go out and kill themselves because they're white or I'm just thinking of the mental health here of what they're
well, yeah,
doing and causing mental destruction in people and emotional distress rather.
yeah. Well, I bring up that matter in my Hearts Are Trump movie also, the white privilege thing. I certainly
Yes.
see it. I certainly see a privilege in our society, but it's not because you're white. It's because how much
Right.
money you got or what position, who's your daddy.
Yeah.
So you see, like Hunter Biden,
I know what you mean, and so yeah, it's a shame that we live in that kind of world right now. That's hopefully it will be overturned, and it will be overturned considering all that's going on. So
but Donald Trump has not done himself some favors because he's been so egotistic about everything. He's always, I did this, I did this, I did this. I'm the best. He's making America great, but he's also making himself great. And I just saw a prophecy. A guy testified. He said back in April, he said Trump is going to be shot. It's going to come so close to his ear, it breaks his eardrum, and he'll fall to his knees. And then he said, after this is over, he's going to say that God saved him, and he's going to become very radically on fire for Jesus. Now,
right,
when he does that, then I think the egotistic thing goes away. He'll start giving God the credit for everything instead of himself. And at that point in time, that's the turning point. And I just heard where he's changed the speech that he was going to give at the RNC, and that he will be
hmm,
speaking about unity instead of, hyping, blowing his own horn, saying, I did this, I'm this, you should elect me because I'm the greatest here. But he needs to have the humility of a Christian, and so I'm hoping that God is touching him now, and he's gonna, because he can't fulfill God's will totally unless he's in line with God's will. So I definitely believe that he was called by God, but he hasn't quite reached the point that I think every one of God's servants along the line have always had to, they had obstacles in front of them they had to overcome before they got to the point where they actually were effective in what they'd been called to do. So I'm just hoping that he's ready to do that now, because now is the time.
right.
Is if we don't win this election, the United States is toast.
It is. I agree. It.
I mean, we've allowed so many foreigners to come into our borders. We have no knowledge who they are, where they are, and
Mm-mm.
there could be all kinds of people ready
They
to
could be they
like,
could be terrorists for all we know.
exactly.
We
So
you
what
know
they probably would do is have some kind of plan that they're at a certain time and a certain day, all of them are going to attack infrastructure, bridges, and electrical stations, everything that would bring this nation to its knees. We already saw some, like railroad, where the railroad things were happening. and they went for a
Uh-huh.
while and they stopped, and they had the burning of production plants for like poultry and meat and stuff like that. That time after time we had that happen, and then it stopped. It's like they were almost like they were just kind of testing the waters to see how this would work out. And when they're ready, they'll just pull the plug on all these activities. So at, if we don't sniff that out in advance, we're going to be in trouble. We it take just a. I mean, it's crazy because we've been like the Trojan horse. The Trojan
Right.
horse was brought into the city by the people thinking that it was a gift, and basically the Democrats have just allowed, instead of trying to be diligent, make sure that our country's safe, they're bringing these people in and offering them all kinds of stuff to come here, and so that
Yeah,
it
it's
ensures that they're going to come because there's so much to be gained, and so it's just unreal.
that is exactly what I also heard in that same video with the guy that goes off the deep end about being at the council, city council there. Um, the lady, which was Kamala Harris, on the phone, had said something about that they need to galvanize, and that claiming that Governor Abbott was a dumb racist, and then calling him also one of the words that was used, the galvan that they need to galvan that we need to galvanize, and then another thing was that they needed the illegals to come in to get their votes. That's another thing that was mentioned. So I don't agree with illegals coming in here to get our vote, or to get their votes. That's not you know I thought you had to become a United States citizen
Exactly.
first
Well, and then
to
the
get.
Democrats will not will fight against any law that says you need to have a driver's license or something to prove who you are when you go to the voting polls. Well, when you can do mail-in ballots, you don't have to worry about that. Just get a bunch of ballots, run them through the copy machine, make them out and send them in. That's a very easy way to cheat. So
Exactly.
that's the one thing God is going to have to intervene to prevent that cheating, because I don't see any way that they can stop it in the natural sense. So I'm
Yeah,
just hoping.
I just thought that was really nuts. I thought, well, why would they do that? That's like, you have to be crazy to go out there and do something like that.
Well,
I
you have
mean,
to, if you want
and
to fly in an airplane, you got to show them your driver's license. If
yep,
you want to do anything,
yeah,
you
you
have
have to have the real ID now to get on an airplane or go in a federal building. I do know that. I had to get
so
mine not too long ago, so I know exactly
to
what you
have
mean.
people resist having to have ID for voting is just very telling. It's the only
Right,
reason they would do that is so people can cheat.
right.
And
That
so
that's just yeah. I hope they don't do this next election. That's we need, they need more uh, security on voting, and more security on IDs and stuff. They need stuff
there,
like that.
there was a famous guy, I can't remember who it was, who said it's not so important who takes who does the voting. It's who counts the votes that matters. So
Right,
if the people that are working in these elections are crooked, I mean, and if they're all, I mean, I heard of one place like in Michigan where all of the Republicans who were supposed to be overlooking and watching the voting counting process were all told go home. Said we're done here. We're not going to do any more work now. And so they told them
huh?
to go home, and so they did, and then they counted up a bunch of votes in the meantime. And so that was
Wow.
that like 2 o'clock time frame when all of a sudden the vote counts changed from Trump being way ahead to being behind is, and that's,
Right.
I mean, to have people look at this and go, oh, there couldn't have been cheating. There's no way this was rigged. I look at it and I go, how can you ignore all this evidence, and the
Yeah.
possibility?
Exactly.
So, I mean, if you have more votes cast in a city than you have voters that are enrolled, that's a clear sign that you had somebody cheating. Somebody's voted more than once or cheating.
Have you seen the movie called 2000 Mules? What do you think about that?
I have not.
All right, you need to go watch it because it's real
Oh,
stuff that they investigate in analytics
is that Dinesh
and
D'Souza?
yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I would suggest it. I've watched it. I think it was a good kind of like at a forensic viewpoint that it would that is possible what they're talking about in there.
Yeah.
But there's just too much politics involved to even really go in there and shut it all down or say this or that. I think is what happened on that. So it's
Well,
crazy, but
what's concerning to me is that the general populace is allowing this to happen. I mean, all we have to do is
yes,
just all stand up and say, wait a second, I don't care who you are, what party you are, something like this. We need to have fair elections. Let's just do whatever it takes to make sure
yes,
they're fair, that everybody's vote counts, one vote, and nobody is, no dead person is voting, no,
I know.
yeah, but they're not interested in that. All they're interested in is
Right.
maintaining the power or getting the power if they don't have it. So it's like I said, God's going to have to intervene in November.
Yes, sir, he is. It's a sad state of affairs. We have elitists going out here doing, rogue things, like that, So there is a documentary I would also suggest people to go and look up on Tubi, which is called Elvis Found Alive, which in there he talks about the elitists and the people that are in charge and the people that are, behind a lot of things. So, and he doesn't, and who whoever this guy named on the documentary, this they say it's John Burroughs, which is actually supposedly um, which is actually supposed to be a live Elvis Presley, I guess, is what was in there. So, but what I'm saying is true because there was a place out in Oak Ridge that requested a FOIA on Elvis Presley. And so they actually got their FOIA and paperwork back, and the ink was still wet. They were actually able, which is to redact the documents to keep people from seeing, classified material. And so they were able to scrub all that off and find out where supposedly the real Elvis Presley was. And not only that, if you look on the stone, at Graceland, Elvis Presley's middle name is incorrectly spelled. So, how do you feel about that?
My wife's talked about that. She's seen this guy. He sounds like Elvis, looks like Elvis. Um, I mean, that would be mind-boggling if he was still alive. Um,
It sure would.
but
It sure would.
that's what happens is with these. They sling the term conspiracy theorist around, and so we have all kinds of stupid conspiracy theories that are spread, and that causes the ones that are real to be kind of scoffed at. It's like, every conspiracy theory is bogus when they're not. But you hide, people get, it's like the little boy who cried wolf. People quit paying attention to him. He'd yell wolf and they wouldn't pay attention because he'd fooled them in the past. So if people believe that the earth is flat and that NASA is trying to keep us from the truth, people look at that and go, these conspiracy theories are out to lunch. But not all conspiracies are created equal. There are some that are absolutely true and they're going under the radar because people think they're just, like they said, a conspiracy theory. And so
Right.
trying to find out which are real and which are not, that involves some investigation, some research, some intelligence, and time.
Yes.
So most people don't have the resources to do that, and so they either
And there's not a lot of people intelligent either these days.
so they either
To understand.
dismiss it out of hand or they accept it out of hand. They don't have any real rational basis for their decision on either side. So, but I mean, but there's only one truth. And so truth has become almost impossible to detect now in our society, with photoshopping and the AI and everything that people can do with stuff. I mean, you can take a video of somebody like Alexander, like Putin, and have him talking and have him
Yeah.
looking like he's saying something in English. You know, it's
Yeah, I know, right?
it's just
Uh,
insane what people can do to manufacture evidence. So what is it, that would be something that could actually be solid evidence that can be used to convict criminals and to detect, conspiracies and so on, when they can hide the truth so masterfully. It's scary. Only
well,
God.
yeah, only God can help this nation right now. So that is for sure. Because I mean, you know, I mean, it just takes the right way of getting this back, getting this country back on its feet. It just takes somebody or someone with knowledge, to get everything back on track the way it was before. So right now, I do not feel that it is, everything's normal. I mean, it's a shame. There's a lot of people I know that go around and think, "Oh yes, yes, world's fine and dandy." You know, I mean, what is wrong? What is wrong with you people? I mean, they think that going into a Walmart and being able to steal $950 plus more of goods. I mean, who knows? That could be movies, for all we know, and people not get their pay from, from the movie industry or whomever. It's just kind of absolutely ridiculous that people would be in support of that. But and only that, looting and rioting on top
Yeah.
of that.
Well, they're reaching a point where the only criminal activity is to be in the wrong political party and to have the wrong ideology when is concerning wokeness and stuff. So they
Right.
can't speak out against abortion or homosexuality or transgenderism, or um, and so they got all their little pet words like racist, and they used to have the string of them: misogynist and racist, and um, I mean, it's just like, can you guys come up with an original argument and have some evidence? Like they come up and say, Trump's
Yes.
a liar. Trump's a liar. Don't tell me Trump's a liar. Tell me where he's lying.
Yes,
Tell me
exactly. And
where
they
the
can't
lies
tell
are.
you.
And the fact is, we've seen more lies. I mean, we have Biden coming out and saying one thing and his press secretary saying an opposite thing. I mean, it's just, I mean, there's so much lying going on. It's pathetic on that side, but yet Trump's the liar.
Right.
But
I
they're
mean,
gonna,
you can't, and I'm gonna be strictly honest. You can't go and run a country completely clueless. Not to say, but I'm just saying you can't do that. That's just like you need to know. You need to have everything down before you just go and do something like that, or even you have education or knowledge. Unless somebody like the elites are using the guy to as a puppet and just basically want to use him to uh, be the messenger to the to the people. And that's kind of way I feel about it.
well, there's some
So
conspiracy theories about the whole thing that every Republican and Democratic president has been selected by these elites behind the scene forever.
yeah.
Um, I'm not sure it's forever, but maybe for this, the last couple centuries. But
I think there's some that don't like me because I've been exposing the truth. And so, but hey, I don't matter. I don't care.
Donald Trump broke the mold. I mean, he was not one of them, one of
Yep.
theirs. They're puppets. And that's why they have to try to get rid of him, because
Yep.
the agenda is in danger if he's in power. So, but it's all goes down to the devil's plan versus God's, and who's going to win in the end.
Now, Donald, do you believe in this wokeness? I didn't. I don't. I do not, certainly as a company, but and photography guy or podcaster. I do not believe in it.
Wokeness.
Yes, I think it's a.
Well,
I think it's more.
of course, I believe in it because I've seen people talking about it, but I don't believe that the cause. I don't believe in the cause. It's
Yes.
it
Ex-
is to me it's a wedge that's being used to divide not only the country but the church as
but
well, because we're seeing some of
yep.
the denominations like the Presbyterians and the Lutherans and so on and the Methodists, their congregations are splitting up because some of the people want to cling to God's values and other people want to be woke and sympathize with these people that have the woke agenda and are part of the woke world. So to me, it's obviously it's a ploy by Satan. So yeah, of course I don't believe in their cause, but I certainly believe that they're real and
Right.
very powerful.
Yep. I don't believe in it either, their cause. That's why I'm, I'm not in support of all of that. And a lot of people will think, well, come on, support it. I'm like, no, I'm not supporting it. Then leave me alone about it, because I'm not like that. Thank you. So I'm serious. I've had people do that. I'm not sponsoring it. I'm not doing that. Sorry, but the deal's off. So. Yeah, and I do hope to see this world in a better shape than what it is, and hopefully they end this wokeness, because there needs to be a push for end wokeness, especially what happened on July the 13th, on Saturday. So
Well, I don't think we're going to see wokeness disappear. Uh, I think it's going to stick around with us. The fight will go continue.
right,
It's just the nature of the beast. It's there's actually a principality, this evil spirit behind the whole thing, and that fight is not going away. So, but hopefully that some people are going to truly wake up and see what's
right,
what that there's an agenda behind it. You know,
yep,
my position is, if you want to be a homosexual or transgender or whatever, that's your that is up to you. You go do what you want to do. Just don't try to make it, enforce and mandated and have to use the right pronoun for you or I go to jail, things like that. Just don't mess with our legal system here and try to make me
yes,
enforce it.
exactly,
Go ahead and do your thing and you have your little pride parades and stuff like that, but don't try to force anything down our throats because we're not going to let that happen because
right,
we know what the end result is going to be bad. I mean, we'll end up like Sodom and Gomorrah, is that mentality where, I mean, where people are totally sexual in nature. There's no spiritual aspect to mankind. They're totally carnal and sex with whoever I mean, that's the modus operandi of these people is that they just, they're totally driven by lust and sexual desires, and that's not a godly perspective.
right. How do you feel about the COVID stuff? It's not mentioned as it used to be. So, I feel that was planned.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what allowed him to do the mail-in ballots,
Yep.
and it also allowed them to kind of discredit Donald Trump. And towards the end, he had a wonderful run in office, like you were talking about before. All the
Yep.
financial windfalls and gains that we'd made, and then COVID came along and caused the society to have to kind of shut down for a while. And so that's how they claim now. I said, "Oh, Joe Biden brought back these 3 million jobs or 3 billion, whatever," and they were simply people that had not been working because of COVID. Now they're able to go back to work. It wasn't
Hmm.
that he created any jobs. I mean, we're seeing him cause lots of jobs to be lost. Especially we're seeing this minimum age craziness. I mean, not minimum
Yep.
wage, but minimum wage, and so they forcing them to pay $20 to a fast food worker. Well, these
Yep.
those fast food restaurants have a very small margin. I mean, you can't
Yep.
pay your worker $20 an hour and make it. So all these places are going to be closing down. So all these people that were going to, they were making $10 an hour or $8 an hour, whatever, and being dissatisfied with that, and now they're happy because they get $20. All of a sudden, they don't have a job at all. So how's that
Yep.
working out for you? And
Yep.
we're gonna, and that thing, that mushrooms, things that are financial in nature, are like a snowball coming down a hill. You know, you can start with a little ball of snow, but as it goes down the mountain, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger because it impacts everything around it. And you know, I just saw the same guy who prophesied that Donald Trump was going to be shot in the ear, also prophesied of a very serious financial, you know, worse than the Great Depression is going to happen after Trump is elected in November. But we're going to pull out of it. So
That's good.
I can certainly see that things are in place right now for that to happen. Because, you know,
Right.
one large company shuts down and lays off 2,000, 4,000, 10,000 employees or something like that. It has a ripple effect.
Oh,
Those
yes,
people
sir.
no longer, they don't have spending money. They can't spend their money at these places, and these people go under. And pretty soon, people are out in the streets begging. You know, the days of the Depression, people are out in the street selling apples. They may have college degrees, and you can't find a job that needs a college degree. So
Right.
it's a scary looking world out there.
Yes, sir, it is. Um, well, I do appreciate you for coming on the show. And I believe I'll be seeing you in the morning, right? To do extra, right?
That would be um, Tuesday morning next week,
Oh,
23rd.
okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
But I will see you Sunday afternoon before that.
All right.
You
I'll
know
see
where
you Sunday.
Common Grounds is at?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
I just had their coffee there. Theirs is the best. I'll have to say, theirs is the best in town. So
All right. So
you take care, Donald, and check out DonaldJamesParker.com. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Take care.